Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, All in a Day's Life. Today we're in the kitchen and we are going to make a couple things if we get the time. But first off, we are going to start with some granola. My kids tend to like to eat cereal as it's quick and they can just eat it and then go play. So I thought instead of keep on buying the store-bought stuff that just has so much stuff in it that is not good for you and things that you can't pronounce on the packets. Honestly, we're trying to flip around and start putting some more healthier things into our bodies, start making things from scratch so that we are not getting stuff from the stores and the packets, and also trying to save money in that way too. Generally making your own things saves money. So our plan is to try and cook from scratch or make things from scratch as much as we can to avoid buying more things from the store and saving a bit more money. And hopefully overall that helps with the health benefits of using ingredients that you know are in these things rather than the shop bought stuff which has stuff in it that you don't even know what they are. So here we are starting with some granola. Now this is interchangeable. You can add or take out whatever you want. Basically make it how you like it. What kind of nuts you like, kind of dried fruit that you like. I'm adding a bit of protein powder into mine just so that we can bulk it up a bit with some protein so that I know that the kids are getting a good filling meal that's going to last them for a while. As you know, cereals basically just go straight through you because all they are carbs. So at least if we've got some other things like some nuts which are healthy fats, I've also got coconut oil going in there, a bit of honey, cinnamon, and the protein powder. It just bulks it up a bit more so it's not just cereal that's going to go straight through the kids and they're going to be hungry half an hour later. So we've got a few things. Firstly, we're just going to get a tray and put a bit of baking paper in it just to avoid a lot of cleanup. It just makes it easier to clean with that one. And we're just going to put our ovens onto 180 degrees Celsius, and so make sure you preheat your oven to 180 degrees Celsius. And we'll just pop this aside so we can start adding things into our bowl. Okay, so into our bowl, we're going to do the dry ingredients first and make sure that they're all mixed through together, especially because we're putting protein powder in. So we want to make sure that everything's covered in the protein powder so that it's evenly distributed. So first we're going to start off with oats. So 1 cup of oats. I've got 2 tablespoons of chia seeds. It just helps to bind it together a little bit better. We're doing cinnamon. Me and my kids, we love cinnamon and everything. So we put a fair bit in there. Obviously go ahead and only put what you like. Teaspoon, tablespoon, whatever you like. Or just smash it in there like I do. My kids always ask for cinnamon on their cereal regardless what it is. So putting lots of cinnamon inside, they'll love it. Next I've got a handful of dates here. Just with the dates, just chop them up a little bit so they're not big chunks in there. My kids like dates though, so that's doesn't matter how big they are, but obviously just so that you get a little bit of everything in your mouth, chop the dates up a bit. Again, if you like it a bit more chunkier, keep them whole if you want to. It's a very versatile recipe. You can just chuck whatever you want in there. Choose your choose the fruits that you want to put in there, choose the nuts you want to put in, obviously dried fruits. I'm also going to use 1/3 cup of sultanas or raisins, whatever you want to call them. You don't need to chop those, but I think I will, just so that the kids can't pick them out. Now you can add whatever you want into these. You can add quinoa flakes instead of oats, but my personal preference is the oats. They're a bit bigger and a bit heartier. So you can try any dried fruit. You can try dried cranberries, dried apricots, whatever you like to use. Next, I'm just going to do about 1/2 cup of blanched almonds, and I'm also going to do 1/2 cup of cashews, and again just lightly chopping them up. I don't really know how my kids feel about almonds, so I will chop those up so that they don't really know that they're in there, and they also can't pick them out then. And of course, it wouldn't be cooking in the kitchen if you didn't drop something on the floor. I've already lost an almond on the floor. Alright, chuck those in. Then we've got the cashews next. Also, before you start, I've got coconut oil here already melted. If you want to go ahead and do that first, or while you're adding all the dry ingredients in, I've got here about 1 tablespoon, but obviously you may need more depending on how many dry ingredients you've got in here, but we'll play it by ear. Once we've got all the dry ingredients in here, we will adjust the amount of coconut oil we'll need to add to that. So obviously just do a little bit to begin with, and if you need to add more, you can just chuck some more in the microwave and melt it up, because that acts as the binding agent along with the honey. Now, I haven't tried it with any other oils, but if you don't have coconut oil or don't like coconut oil or allergic to it or whatever it may be, feel free to try another oil. I'm not too sure how it will go, but hey, it's trial and error in the kitchen, isn't it? So give it a whirl. And next we will put the protein powder in, which we'll use about 2 serves. So I'm using 1/2 cup of protein powder in there. Now that you've got all the dry ingredients in there, go ahead and give it a good mix. Get all the cinnamon and the protein powder covered on everything. So all my dry ingredients include oats, chia seeds, I've got almonds, cashews, raisins or sultanas, dates, cinnamon and protein powder, and just going to pop a little bit of salt in there. Now, we only use Celtic salt in our house, as the benefits from Celtic salt are just better for you. Alright, get that all mixed in. as you can see, that's well incorporated there. Everything's coated. So next we can put the wet ingredients in. So I've got honey and the coconut oil. I'm just going to get the honey in first. And we just need 1/3 cup of honey. Now you can obviously substitute that for something else. You can use rice malt syrup, you can use agave syrup, you can try maple syrup, but I'm not sure if that's as good as a binding agent as honey or rice malt syrup is. I'm just going to put a sneaky little bit of vanilla. I don't think that you can cook anything without a bit of vanilla. So my protein powder is a plant-based protein, and it's also flavored vanilla. So you can use whatever flavor you want. Like if you're going for like a berry kind of granola, you can, instead of adding your sultanas and dates, you could add like dried strawberries, dried blueberries, and add maybe a strawberry protein powder, whatever you like. Try chocolate, even a chocolate protein powder, and put some maybe cacao nibs in it or cacao in there, whatever you choose to do. It's a versatile recipe that you can pretty much just add whatever takes your fancy. So I'm just getting all that in and just giving it a good mix. Get it all coated. See, it's coming together a little bit, and that's what you want. You don't want it too wet, but you also don't want it too dry. So find your happy medium. Once you see it sort of clumping together a little bit, then I think you're good to go. So now we can grab our tray and just start plopping it in there. And just push it around the tray and make sure it's evenly placed on the tray. Now that we've got that evenly on the tray, we're going to now put it in the oven. Now that it's in the oven, this is probably the hardest part out of the whole thing, is to remember to go get it. And you have to stir it every few minutes. So you don't want it to burn on the bottom and get all crusty. So you need to, every, say, 5 minutes, open it, give it a mix around, and then chuck it back in. And then just keep doing that up until you think that it's cooked to your desire, whether you like it more golden or whether you like it a little bit softer. Up to you how you like it. I like mine to be golden, but not like crusty and brown. So however you like it, just keep an eye on it, set a timer every 5 minutes and go back to it and mix it up. So I'm just going to clear off these items off the bench, and then we can get to our next recipe. Our next recipe is applesauce bread. I've never made it myself, but this recipe makes 2 loaves and I have applesauce to get rid of. So I'm going to make up some applesauce loaves. It makes 2, so I'll put 1 in the freezer and I'll keep 1 for some snacks for the kids. The recipe I have calls for sugar. Now we don't really use refined sugar in this house. We generally use honey instead. So we're going to give it a whirl with the honey instead and see how that goes. So I'm just going to clean off the bench here so we can start a new recipe. Let's get cleaned up. Okay, so I've just got the ingredients out ready for the next recipe, but I'm just going to go to the oven and move that around so it doesn't get all stuck together. Perfect. Alright, so I've just given that a quick mix around so that it's not going to burn on the bottom. And now we're going to get it onto the next thing. So, applesauce bread. First we're going to add the melted butter. So get some butter. It's about 1 cup of butter, or 240 grams, 8 ounces, 2 sticks of butter, whatever you want to call it. That's all going in there. That is my microwave singing to me, telling me that it's ready. Alright, so I've got butter in there. We will then put eggs. We have chickens, so eggs are easy to come by here. So grab 4 eggs. 4 eggs, 3 cups of applesauce, if you have an abundance of applesauce, it's a good way to get rid of it. This is just applesauce that I made. All it is apples, just apples. I don't really like using the stuff from the store because there's other stuff in it, and all it really needs to be is apples. All you do is just stew them down in a saucepan with a little bit of water. So chop them up real small without the skin on. Put them in a pot. Put them in a pot with a little bit of boiling water, and I just let them go, and they probably sit on there for about an hour. Obviously mixing them every, I don't know, whenever you think about it really, mixing it up. So this will be interesting to see what happens here, because the applesauce was cold from the fridge, so that might not do too well with the melted butter. Didn't think about that, but we'll figure it out as we go. So, applesauce, I just had to pull some more out the freezer, is a great way to use up apples that may be turning bad, or you've got an orchard, so you've got an abundance of them. Honestly, I love applesauce, and it's so easy to make. Alright, so that is the 3 cups of applesauce. So give that a mix now that you've got your butter, applesauce in there. I've added a little bit of vanilla. So I never measure vanilla, I just love it, so I just put in a little bit too much probably. Alright, that's looking good. I'm gonna get the honey in before I get the eggs in. Okay, so the recipe actually calls for, let's see, 1.5 cups of sugar, but we prefer not to use white sugar in our house. And I generally substitute out for honey most of the time, and it works out. So that's what we're going to do here. If you want to use sugar, go for it. It's 1.5 cups of sugar. I'm going to try just a little bit over 1 cup of honey. Obviously that's a lot of honey, so if you don't want to use that much honey and you prefer to use your sugar, go for it. Use the sugar. I'm using honey for this, and we'll see how it turns out. Obviously not doing it a quick way. I was just trying to reuse a measuring cup, which means I cannot scoop it into the bowl, into the honey jar. So I am just spooning it in. Obviously, scooping it up would be a lot faster, but oh, and we're making a mess too. But that's what we do when we're cooking in the kitchen. Make a mess. Alright. That's the honey. So remember, this is making 2 loaves. So yes, that might seem like a lot, but this is going to be 2 loaves. Alright. Stick the lid back on there. Alright, I'm going to get the honey in there. The eggs in. The honey is already in. Going to get some eggs in. So 4 eggs. Now it doesn't call for any more apples or anything inside the bread. Well, actually it calls for 2 cups of walnuts. But I myself am not a fan of walnuts, and neither are my kids. So I'm just going to leave the walnuts out. But instead, I thought I might just put some, a few apple chunks in it. So I'm just going to peel and chop up 2 apples. Well, we'll start with 1 and see how much it gives us. Just into really, really small pieces, just so there's a little bit of texture in the bread. Alright. Now let's mix that. So we've got in here, we've got the applesauce, butter, eggs, honey, and vanilla. Give that a good mix around before we add the dry ingredients. So dry ingredients include a bit of cinnamon, or a lot in our case. Your 3 cups of your all-purpose flour, all-purpose flour or self-raising flour, and some baking powder. So that's 1 tablespoon of baking soda. So that'll be interesting. I'm just going to quickly prep the apple. I've got red. You can use green, red, whatever you've got on hand, if you have any on hand. If not, feel free to use anything else. You can put walnuts in it if you wanted the walnuts. You can put pecans in it. Whatever you desire, or nothing, if you so desire. So just going to quickly give that a bit of a chop, just into nice little pieces. Again, don't forget about the granola that's in the oven. I think one apple might be enough. So I thought I'd just show you the granola. I'm going to call that done for our family. So that's as golden as I would like it. Now obviously it still feels a bit soft to me, but I'm just going to let it sit. When you let it sit, it'll harden up and crisp up there, and then you can break it apart and put it in your jar, ready for breakfast. Okay, so cinnamon. Again, however much you like. It calls for half a teaspoon. But what's half a teaspoon? That's not enough. Alright, 1 tablespoon of your baking soda. Squashing it up before I chuck it in there so there's no lumps. I think I might put the flour in first. Alright, so 3 cups. One. I find that counting out loud while I do this, 2 helps remind me how many cups I've actually put in there, because sometimes when you've got a fair few cups to go in there, you forget. And 3 cups. Now a good thing to do before, if you know you're going to do a big cooking day, is to have your dishwasher empty and ready to go. So you can just fill it up and put all your dishes in there while you go. So you don't have to worry about a big pile of dishes at the end. Just pop it in as you go, as you do your reset after each recipe. Alright, so I'm going to mix all that together. Once this is all mixed in together, I will pop the chopped apple in there. So I did only do 1 apple, but once I chuck it in there, I'll see how how it looks. So I've just done really small pieces there. I don't want big chunks in there, I just want a little bit of a taster. Now, how easy was that? Okay. Just got to get our 2 baking tins for these 2 loaves, and away we go. Okay, so I've cleaned up now, and I've got my 2 tins here ready to pour in. So we're just going to pour those straight in. We've still got the oven on from the granola, so we can just get those straight into the oven. Don't have to worry about preheating, but otherwise preheat to 180 degrees Celsius or 350 Fahrenheit. Now you just have to make sure you get this even in your 2 trays. Looks pretty good. Smells delicious already, and it's not even been baked yet. Alright, get every last bit in there. Straight into the oven. Alright, that's 2 recipes done so far. I'm just going to pop this in the dishwasher and we'll see how we go for time. So I forgot to mention, those are now supposed to go into the oven for about an hour. We'll see. But about an hour. But if you want to make those into muffins, you can put them in muffin tins and they'll go for 20-25 minutes. So up to you how you want to bake them. I'm doing the loaves today because I've got plenty of apple muffins in the freezer for my kids ready to go. So that's what we're doing today. An hour. So I'll set the timer up for an hour and then we can pull them out and see how they look. I'll keep an eye on them before that because my oven's a bit iffy. So I'll have a look probably about 45 minutes and see how we're going. Do the prick test and see and make sure that it's not, see if it's cooked inside or not. So we have time for one more thing. So we're going to do some blueberry muffins. These are all going to be recipes that are mostly for the kids really, that I like to do for lunches or snacks when we're going out. It's easy to just make a big batch and put them in the freezer, so then I can just grab them out of the freezer into small bags or in a lunchbox, and when we're out it's a nice snack. At least I know that I made it and I know what's in it. So instead of giving them chips and whatnot from the shop, we've got plenty of stock in the freezer for that. So I've got the apple bread that we made earlier, got the granola for breakfast, and now we're doing blueberry muffins. Normally I would double a recipe if I'm doing that, snacks for the kids that are going in the freezer, but I've not made this one before, so I'm not going to double it this time. And I don't think the kids really absolutely love blueberry muffins, so we'll see how we go, and if they do love them, then at least we know we can hold on to this recipe and use it another time too. Because we've still got some muffins in the freezer currently. I think we've still got some banana choc chip maybe, and I think we've got a few more of the chocolate date muffins. So I will have to make some more of those chocolate muffins too another day. But yes, so we've just got doing some blueberry muffins, and probably in the next few days, over the weekend or next week, we might do some more snack things like some brownies or some more of those chocolate muffins or whatever, and we'll see how we go for time. And yes, time is hard when you've got kids, so I'm doing it right now while they're at childcare to get it done faster and quicker and easier. Otherwise, it's a little bit tricky when they're around because they're yelling and screaming and constantly wanting food or whatever it is, but they always seem to be hungry. I don't know what your kids are like, but mine are 3.5 and they just want to eat all the time. So anyways, let's get into this recipe. We're going to do all the wet ingredients first. So in this bowl, I'll start with the egg. It says 1 egg at room temperature. So when we were baking, I think it was the cake. Yeah, when we were doing the cake, the apple bread, I had the eggs out for that, and I just left them out in case we needed room temperature eggs, because I keep my eggs in the fridge. So I'll just give that a quick little beat before I start adding the rest. Alright. That looks good. I'll put a little bit of vanilla in. It says 2 teaspoons, but however much you like, I say. Now this actually calls for 3/4 cup of raw coconut sugar or brown sugar. I don't think I have that much coconut sugar left, so we're going to roll with honey. So instead of doing the 3/4 cup, I'm just going to do 1/2 cup of honey instead as my sweetener. Yeah, we'll roll with that, 1/2 cup. Now this is just a 1/4 cup, so I'm going to do 2 of those, because obviously you saw before I used all my measuring cups before, and they are in the dishwasher, so we'll just roll with what we've got left. So that's 1/4. It also calls for 1/3 a cup of melted coconut oil. So I've already gone ahead and melted my coconut oil. So get that in the microwave now. Get all that goodness in there. Okay, so that's the honey. So far, so I've got the egg, honey, vanilla, and now I'm going to put the coconut oil in there. And just give that a little whisk all together before we add the dry ingredients. So obviously do your coconut oil first and let it just sit for a little bit so it can cool down, so it's not hot when you put it in there. You don't want to cook your egg. Alright, that looks pretty good. It also calls for some lemon zest, but I don't have any fresh lemons on me at the moment, so it says optional, so we're going to leave that out. Alright, oh, I forgot the milk. So that is the other wet ingredient. Now you can use any milk for this. Nut milks, so your almond milk, cashew milk. Your oat milk, whatever milk you have on hand. Right now, all I'm going to use is just normal milk from the store, full cream milk. And I asked for half a cup. So, using my same measuring cup, that's a quarter cup, so 2 of those, half a cup. Alright, now that's all the wet ingredients. Quickly get that all mixed together. And then to that we're going to add the dry ingredients. So we've got 1.5 cups plus 1 tablespoon of flour, all-purpose flour, or self-raising flour. Now also this can be gluten-free if you want it to be, so you can use your gluten-free flour if you would like to. I'm just using normal all-purpose self-raising flour. And ask for baking powder, 2 teaspoons, obviously your salt, and I think that's it for the dry ingredient. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so 1.5 cups of your all-purpose flour. So this is only a half a cup, so 3 of those. Now I've still got my oven on from the apple loaves, so make sure you preheat your oven to 375 Fahrenheit. That's 2. 3. So 1.5 cups of flour and 1 tablespoon apparently, just cause. And your 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And salt. It says 1/4 teaspoon, so yeah, just use a little pinch. I just realised I forgot my apron. Alright, so give that a mix. Now it's supposed to be a thick mixture. Now, obviously it's just a basic muffin recipe, so you can add whatever berries you want in there. I'm doing blueberries because that's what I have on hand. It's very thick. It's very thick. I don't know if you can see that, but it's very thick. Very thick. Alright, so then we're going to add in our blueberries. It says 1 cup. It can be frozen, fresh, or dehydrated. Ooh. Whatever you have on hand. We just always have frozen blueberries on hand in the freezer because my kids just like to eat them like that, straight from the freezer. In fact, I think that that's the only kind of way that they eat their blueberries other than in muffins. I don't think they like them fresh. Who knows? One day they'll surprise me, hey? So just fold them in. Don't mix them too much because then you end up with a purple dough. unless you want purple muffins, that's fine too. So did not use that. Then we're going to get our muffin trays out. Now this makes 10 to 12 muffins apparently, but I always make the mini ones for my kids. They last longer and they're easier for the kids to eat. So that's what we'll be doing. I'm just going to do a quick clean down of the bench so that we can put our trays out with the muffin pans on them, and then we'll start scooping them out into the trays. So all I do is I get my flat tray, put some baking paper on it, and then I grab these silicone molds, the small ones. I think it's just easy to put it on a tray like this rather than these, because when you're putting it in, you know, try and get it in the batter, might go everywhere. So I just keep it flat on there, makes it easier to pull in and out, and then spray with the oil. I do find with the silicone molds, these ones especially, that the stuff does not, like the muffins when they're cooked, don't stick in there. They come out very easily, so I do prefer to use these. So we're just going to get our ice cream scoop or cookie scoop, and we're just going to scoop them in. This more looks like cookie dough than it does muffin mix. It's very thick. Hopefully they look okay when they come out. Ooh, throwing blueberries. They're really thick. Like I said, it almost feels like cookie batter. So we've got a fair bit left, so I might end up using this tray. Okay, so if you're making bigger muffins, they'll go in the oven for about 20 minutes. I'm probably only going to do these for 12 to 15 minutes. We'll see how quickly they go. Obviously, you want them to be cooked and golden, but not burnt. So keep an eye on them if you're doing the mini ones. Otherwise, about 20 minutes for the large ones. Let's get those in the oven. Alright, we'll see you in 12 to 15 minutes maybe. I'll get this all cleaned up and into the dishwasher, and we'll see you soon. So I'm just going to check the muffins and see if they are ready to go. And they did puff up and come quite nice, even though they were super thick like that. So there you have it. We've done the granola. You can see there, that's ready to go. I'll be putting that in a jar in the cupboard. I'll wait for these to cool down before I deal with those, but I'll just be keeping maybe 7 or 8 out into, just to keep out for the kids to snack on, and the rest will be going into the freezer. So we actually made 31 little muffins, blueberry muffins out of that, and they look pretty good to me. And we've got our 2 apple loaves, which yes, I cut into one and had to have a try because I never made it before. So obviously I had to let you know how good it tasted. Actually tasted really good. So it's kind of like a banana bread, but apple. So it's nice and soft. I had a little bit of butter on mine, and it tasted delicious. I've been picking at this throughout the cooking time, so I know that is delicious and tasty. And we've just got the muffins here. So yeah, once they cool down, I'll give them a taste test. But yeah, so they've cooled down a little bit. So I'm just gonna have a little taste test and let you know what they're like. Yeah, they're pretty good. Definitely appropriate for the kids. Not too sweet and overbearing. Just quite nice. The blueberry flavour comes out. Yeah, that's good. I think the kids will like those. So thank you for coming into my kitchen today and cooking with me. We've got the blueberry muffins, the granola, protein granola, and the apple bread, loaf, whatever you want to call it. We've had some fun in the kitchen today, and I hope you'll join me next time, whether it be in the kitchen, in the garden, or just in the home. Join us next time on All in a Day's Life. You'll also find all of these recipes linked down below, or you can go onto my website, allinaDaysLife.com, and you'll find all of these recipes, blogs, and much more on my website. Thanks for joining me today in my kitchen. I hope to see you next time. Catch you later.